Tonight on NCC News, President Obama announces his intention to deploy additional ground forces to the Middle East. The Pope gets a new personalized set of wheels, and Kobe Bryant announces his bittersweet retirement from the Los Angeles Lakers. All this and more after the break. Hello, I'm Isabel Surapine.
And I'm Christopher Crisotomo.
President Barack Obama has announced the deployment of American ground forces to Syria to aid in the operations against the Islamic State. The news comes in light of the coordinated attacks in Paris last month that left dozens of innocents dead and resulted in a wave of nationwide police raids.
More U.S. Special Forces are heading to Iraq and Syria. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter broke the news during his testimony on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
We're sending, on President Obama's orders and the chairman's and my advice, Special Operations Forces personnel to Syria to support the fight against ISIL.
Carter says the newly deployed troops will add to the less than 50 special forces sent to northern Syria last month. While the Pentagon isn't disclosing how many will be part of this new wave, they are expected to be on the ground playing a very active role.
These special operators will over time be able to conduct raids, free hostages, gather intelligence, and capture ISIL leaders.
The Pentagon continues to focus on small, mobile special forces and not on large-scale troop deployments. The Obama administration has come under some criticism that this strategy does not do enough to eliminate the threat of ISIS.
I'm confident that we are on the winning side of this.
On Tuesday, President Obama finished his trip to Paris, where the war on ISIS loomed over global climate talks. The president delivered this warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin about the dangers of getting caught up in Syria's civil war.
With Afghanistan fresh in the memory, for him to simply get bogged down in an inconclusive and paralyzing civil conflict is not the outcome that he's looking for.
I'm Polo Sandoval reporting from Washington.
The Pope makes a visit to different parts of Africa, including Kenya and Uganda. A local Ugandan mechanic named Moses has made it his personal mission to create a vehicle capable of handling the terrain while at the same time maintaining functionality as the Pope's transportation.
When Ugandan mechanic Moses Kayira got wind that Pope Francis was coming to town, there was only one thing to do: build the pontiff a Pope-mobile for his trip to Kampala. Okay. It's a bit snug.
So the Pope, he says, is smaller than me, but also they can pull the doors off while he drives the Pope-mobile through the crowds of Kampala so he can wave.
Moses sourced his parts locally and pulled images of the Pope from the net. He says it will all appeal to the people's Pope. Wherever the Pope goes, he says he's not a lavish person. He prefers to be down to earth and interacting with ordinary people. Pope Francis raised eyebrows when he arrived in the US recently in a Fiat 500. And his official Pope-mobile was pretty basic too. But Moses believes his hand-built four-wheel drive has another edge over an imported Pope-mobile. I made a rugged Pope-mobile, he says, to suit the nature of our roads, which are rough and full of potholes. Moses hopes Pope Francis will take a ride in his Pope-mobile, or at the very least, he says, his homegrown holy vehicle deserves a papal blessing. David Mackenzie, CNN, Kampala, Uganda.
The peace in Baltimore is stirring once again as police brutality takes the spotlight after the death of Freddie Gray, the 25-year-old man arrested in April this year. The death is alleged to be the result of several spinal injuries from excessive force on the officer's part. Officer William Porter is currently charged with involuntary manslaughter and second-degree assault, among other charges.
We won't stop! We can't stop till killer cops are in cell blocks!
In Baltimore, a small but fierce protest with chants so loud they could be heard by prospective jurors in the trial of William Porter. He's the first police officer to face trial in the death of Freddie Gray. The 25-year-old Baltimore man suffered a severe spinal injury in the back of a police van in April. His death a week later sparked riots in the city and a wave of protests that swept the nation.
No justice! No peace!
Prosecutors charged 6 officers last May, including Porter. The city of Baltimore approved a $6.4 million settlement for Gray's family. Porter and his legal team will fight back against charges of involuntary manslaughter, second-degree assault, misconduct in office, and reckless endangerment. His case may also determine what path other defense teams will take, or if they too will remain in Baltimore. In the courtroom Monday, Porter's lawyers again requested a change of venue, fearing they could not get a fair trial in Baltimore. An attorney for Gray's family was also asked if Porter's ethnicity would have any impact on the 5 other trials scheduled to start in the coming months.
The fact that an African American is tried first, I think, will have minimal impact. The result of the trial can have some impact.
Meanwhile, one observer says with no cameras in the courtroom, public reaction might be more on the muted side.
And that changes the dynamic. We don't get a chance to follow along, and public has a chance to weigh in on every detail as they come out.
Reporting in Baltimore, I'm Vidal Sandoval.
Kobe Bryant is announcing his retirement after his current season with the Los Angeles Lakers. The ending of his final season in the NBA marks his 19th year as a professional athlete. Bryant has won 5 championships with the Lakers and ranks as the 4th highest scorer in NBA history. Now, he shares his feelings on a decision to retire.
I mean, I just, the fact that I'm talked about in the company with Magic and, you know, Cap, and, you know, that's
This rate is a rate.
I just, that I'm on the company with Magic and, you know,
this rate is a deployment ground has a series operate fee glam.
I just
deployment has a ground
on the company
series
and,
operate
you know,
fee glam has a deployment.
I just that I'm on the company Magic and, you know, I just that I'm on the company Magic and, you know, I just that I'm on the company Magic and, you know, I just that I'm on the company Magic and, you know, I just that I'm on the company Magic and, you know,
Old man arrested.
What college are you going to?
I don't know.
What do you want to be?
I don't know. My parents want me to be an architect.
Architect?
Yeah, but it's my future. I want to do something that turns me on.
What turns you on?
I don't know.
We know NCC has a Student Success Center where counselors assist every student in creating a future.
You'd make a cute pirate.
I don't know.
We know. Be who you want to be. Create your future at NCC.
The NCC Food Pantry hosted an event this past Halloween to bring families and students together celebrating the holiday in the safety of daylight and familiar faces. The event took place on the West Campus in a few hours just before nighttime, with the decorated trunks of cars belonging to students lining up the parking lot where the festivities could be seen from Richards Avenue.
So basically what we have here throughout this entire trunk is an Alice in Wonder theme. And so we are part of Theater Club, and we decided to vote upon just doing a theme like this. We thought it would be really good, and like it's also really colorful, as you can see here. It just goes with the theme of our whole trunk or treat The whole reason is mainly for families that are sometimes too busy to take their kids out during Halloween. So we at NCC provide these families a chance to give their children an experience of Halloween itself. And each different trunk allows us to have a different theme and also give them that set experience of like maybe going around trick-or-treating at other houses.
The reason why we do trunk or treat is because this is a really great safe environment for our students and for their families. Sometimes kids go into have neighborhoods that are too dark or probably not safe for them, so this is a really great alternative to a traditional neighborhood trunk or treat or trick or treat. In addition to that, it's also a really great place for our students to come together as a community event with their families. There's not a lot of family events for students, and this is a really great way to start off the holidays for them.
The NCC Theater Club has launched its Performing Arts Festival to showcase its talent. The event, held in the PepsiCo Theater, attracted a full house and is the result of a semester's worth of rehearsing. The event consisted of several musical pieces as well as some dramatic narratives like Mary Just Broke Up with This Guy, written by Garth Wingfield. While some of the pieces were understaffed, it gave the performers a chance to accept multiple roles, adapt to different characters, and extend their acting abilities by covering more ground.
Hi, my name is Christine Mangone, and I'm an assistant professor of music and theater. Well, I sort of kind of take each semester as it goes, so what I kind of do is figure out what's going around the school, and then from that I choose what we're going to do projects. So what I do is basically I choose projects ahead of time, but then I also try to like support whatever's going on in the school and then take from that. We started rehearsing the second, we had auditions the second week of the semester, so we've been rehearsing for about 10 weeks.
Totally. Did this one time, had a guy in my apartment. It was huge too, and it tormented me, man.
My name is Jacob Whalen, and I participated in the Performance Arts Festival. And my role was one of the 4 guys in the skit, Mary Just Broke Up with This Guy, which normally the skit would be just involving 2 people, a male and female, but the male part was split between 4 guys to add more creativity, more fun, have everybody have a chance to play different characters and kind of bounce off of each other. And I played a few characters such as a lawyer, a Donald Trump supporter, a guy with a burning hatred for rats that just wants them to burn.
Take that! Thank you! Now so you're acting like Susie?
Do you have any words or of advice for anybody who may have a creative drive but is too shy to take that first step on the stage?
Definitely. Performing Arts Festival is a great way to like start out because there's so many people that there's not too much pressure on any one person, and you can also do as little or as much as you want. So you can be in a play, like for example, Acting 1 students, there were 25 of them on stage. Each one of them had like 4 or 5 lines, so it wasn't too much pressure. So it's a great way to get started without it being too overwhelming or anything. I think they did a great job. I mean, they really, and I'm so happy for them because they worked so hard, and I think they enjoyed tonight, and all the hard work paid off.
When we return, learn what it's like being at the helm of our own school newspaper, and take a guess at which comedic couple is tying the knot of marriage this year. Stay tuned for this and more after the break. Have you ever wondered what it's like to keep a group running on a strict schedule each week like a clockwork? See what it takes to have a weekly edition of the paper running throughout the semester. Today, we get the inside scoop from the editor-in-chief of our school newspaper, The Voice.
My name is Natalie Cardi. I'm editor-in-chief of The Voice, and I've been on the paper for 3 semesters now. Okay, so the first step is always getting story ideas. You need stories to make a paper. So my news editor is responsible for story ideas for the news section. My opinion and features editor is responsible for the opinion and features pages. Of course, they could come to me and ask for suggestions, and our staff is also open to suggest stories if they think, hey, this is not something I want to write about. Let me suggest something else. We're totally open to that. And then we assign the stories to the staff with word counts, sources. Staff picks what they want. We pick what we would like to write about. We usually tell them to not interview, but to email their sources right away because it's very hard to get an interview with some people, you know. From there, we have our first copy edit night, which is for opinion and features articles. We review it for AP style, basic grammar mistakes, any kind of, problem we could possibly have. And the second copy edit night is for news stories. We do that. And then we work on InDesign, which is the really fun part. Not really. It's the hardest part, I would say, of making a paper. Basically, we just insert the articles, the corresponding photos, we create headlines there. You have to play around with it because it has to fit into these little modular sections, so that's a bit of a thing, and that happens typically on press night. And then we send it to the printers, and we're done. Of course not. I mean, when you get into any role, I think you're kind of more, I guess, confident that, yeah, this is me. Not easy, but a very, relatively low-stress job. But then you get put into the job, it's like, whoa. I mean, of course, being the boss of anything is a lot of work, but being the boss of a paper is a whole other monster. I mean, we get revenue, ads pay us, it's partially a business, so there's that kind of stress to it. And also, it's here forever. We print 2,000 copies of the paper. It's going to be here forever. So we make a mistake, it's there. It's not going anywhere. I mean, we could fix it online, but on print, there it is. Your mistake for everyone to see for the rest of eternity. So it's a lot of pressure because of course, you want to create a good paper. You want to be better than past editor-in-chiefs. Keep writing. I mean, if there's a newspaper at your college, join it. I mean, these are like-minded people that are either looking to be a journalist, are journalists. If you're not writing and if you're not trying to improve yourself, then you're not going to get anywhere in the field. I mean, if you say, hey, I'm a journalism major, and then you don't join the paper, what's the point? Where are you getting your experience? How are you becoming a better writer?
Right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
That was awesome. Any last words?
Don't join the paper. Just kidding. Join it.
The sibling of one of the 8 perpetrators from last month's terrorist attack in Paris speaks up about the unpredictability of the attack and the gut-wrenching surprise that it had on her family. The attack sparked a manhunt across France and has resulted in over 1,000 police raids in under a week.
One of the terrorists responsible for the worst attack in France in half a century. One of 3 shooters at the Bataclan concert hall on November 13th. His name revealed days later, Sami Amimour. For the first time on international television, his sister is speaking out.
At what point did you learn that your younger brother was one of the attackers?
At first, I was shocked. I was screaming in despair and sadness. And when I gathered my thoughts, I thought this information was wrong, that there was a mistake, that it was impossible.
A man who grew up to be a mass murderer, but whose life, according to his sister, started very differently. She shared personal pictures of her brother with us.
The Sami you knew, you're saying, was a nice guy.
Exactly. He was a nice person, a sensitive person, a bit shy, somebody you can rely on, a generous person. someone nice who loved to laugh and joke.
But then that man disappeared, she says, literally, traveling to Syria to join ISIS. His father reportedly went after his son to try to convince him to come home, to no avail. Ami Moore's family actually stayed in touch with him while he was in Syria. The last message from him was sent in August of this year.
In your last contact with him, was it just an ordinary conversation?
Yes.
With absolutely no sign that anything like this could happen?
No sign. Totally normal conversation. I asked him how he was, and he told me, listen, I'm very well. I have a lot of things to deal with at the moment, so I will call you very soon. Send kisses to everyone and to my cat.
How do you reconcile your brother who says, kiss the parents, kiss the cat, I'll call you soon, the little boy you grew up with the man who so coldly murdered dozens of helpless people in a concert hall?
To me, there's no link. It's almost like it's not him. There's no chance. I know it's real, but...
So what happened to a man who worked as a bus driver, led a seemingly normal life in the northern Paris suburb of Drancy, that turned him into a mass killer and suicide bomber?
It started with the internet. He visited websites that were sort of controversial. Then it continued with videos, and then it stayed that way. Then, beyond the world of the internet, there was also the real world. People came to talk to him.
Where?
In the area, here, below the house. They came to talk to him more and more and told him that he should attend the sermon at the mosque more regularly, that he should be more devoted to his practice of Islam. Then they led him towards mosques that were more radical.
These are some of the pictures of Ami Moore's victims, some of the 89 people ruthlessly killed that night. Does his family feel any responsibility for Ami Moore's actions?
Of course, there's part of us that says, maybe it's our fault. Maybe we could have done something different. Maybe, just maybe.
If you had an opportunity to speak to the family of one of the victims, what would you say to them?
Sorry for your loss. We're sorry because we didn't want all of this. We understand the pain they feel, and we know that nothing will bring their families back, whatever we may say. So we just hope that they can mourn their dead.
Hala Garani, CNN, Paris.
On a lighter note, Adele's latest album has reached over 3 million sales in record time, while The Hunger Games takes the top place in the box office, followed closely by the animated adventure The Good Dinosaur and boxing drama Creed.
Adele can say hello to some record-breaking numbers. Her new album, 25, sold 3.38 million copies during its first week. That beats the previous single sales week record by nearly 1 million copies.
Thank you, Turkey.
He is one half of a Comedy Central super duo. She loves to show off her dance moves on Fox's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Together, this comedic couple is sure to have one hilarious wedding ceremony. That's right, Chelsea Peretti and Jordan Peele announced on Twitter they're getting hitched. Peretti says Peele popped the question during a family talent show. Hunger Games gobbled down the competition at the box office. Mockingjay Part 2 made $75.7 million this holiday weekend. Newcomers The Good Dinosaur and Creed split the leftovers, coming in second and third, respectively. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Andy Rose.
A little girl with a warm heart and a charitable soul has surprised officers in 33 different states with her own homemade bead crosses. Over 6,000 crosses have been delivered to officers as a gesture of gratitude for the protection that they provide, and encourages them to continue to protect and serve despite all the recent scrutiny of law enforcement.
I actually think for a minute about what they do while I make the crosses.
Ariana Nichols has sent more than 6,300 crosses to 96 departments in 33 states since she started making them in September. She makes them out of beads and sends them to police and firefighters to carry with them.
Put them in their pockets or hats.
They come in many different colors. Ariana says if she knows a department has recently lost an officer, she'll send extra blue and black crosses.
To keep in memory of the officers that fall.
The Fargo Police Department got a bag of 160 crosses earlier this month, along with a handwritten note. Ariana writes that she hopes her gifts will inspire people to pray, and that she hopes they will protect the people carrying them. Several members of the department took pictures to send back to the girl. Sergeant Jim Kringley was one of those. He pins his at his desk where he can look up and see it.
That's very nice. It made me feel good. It made my day.
Kringley says it's a nice gesture during a time when there is so much criticism of law enforcement.
Without public support, the police department doesn't function. And, it's nice to hear, especially someone so young, that you would take the time to make the little crosses.
Chief David Todd says they do get symbols of support like this from time to time, and that they're always appreciated.
There's all sorts of bad news in this world that you hear every day, but when you have the innocence of a child that's willing to reach out and say, hey, I care about you and I made this for you, I think that's pretty special.
Ariana says she sometimes spends 2 hours a day working on the crosses, committed to working hard for a good cause.
The sooner that I make the crosses, the sooner it will protect the officers and firefighters.
Aaron Berner, WDAY 6 News.
That's all we have for you today, but please join us next time to stay informed on issues and events both foreign and domestic. I'm Isabel Surpine.
And I'm Christopher Grisotomo. Good night and good luck.
Next time on NCC News, see what Japanese sculptor Akinori Matsumoto has dedicated his talent to. The NCC TV and Film Club takes you inside the club, and Joe Fusigna takes you inside the art club.